Folks, you're very welcome to the 4th edition of Whiskey in the Bar, where we taste fine Irish whiskies from fine Dublin pubs. This week we're feeling very presidential, not only because we're in the Palace Bar, but also because we're going to be tasting a whiskey named in honour of the first President of Ireland, Douglas Hyde. So without further ado, as a famous president once said, things do not happen, things are made to happen. Let's get down to it and taste it. So we're going to crack on and crack open whiskey number 4, the Hyde 10-year-old single malt. Excited about this one, Michael?
I am absolutely thrilled, looking forward to this one.
Okay, well,
I couldn't sleep last night.
That's unlike you. Usually quite sleep like a rock.
How would you know how I sleep?
I've heard stories. Now, pick that one up there, Michael. Have a nose. Interesting colour to this one compared to other single malts that we've done so far, isn't it?
It's a lot darker.
A lot darker.
That's a sherry cask. Sherry casking actually is very interesting. They're very good at it. A lot of sherry cask whiskey, what happens is that the whiskey producer buys a cask, a brand new cask, pours sherry into it.
Okay.
For 8, 9, 10 months, a year, whatever. But what Hyde have done, which is very unusual, is they've gone out and they've got a cask that was used to make sherry. The cask, they tell me, is about 20 years old, but it's a real sherry cask, not a cask that's been conditioned by sherry. So you're sipping it. What do you think?
On the nose, I think it comes across. A lot of oak comes across on the nose. A little bit of fruit coming in there after, obviously, as a result of the sherry.
It's kind of subdued. I'm getting a massive hit of alcohol, 46%. Let's give it a shake.
When you talk about sherry casks, you're talking just about a finish. They're not stored for 10 years in sherry.
No.
So they would just be what, formerly bourbon?
This is a bourbon cask before. I think it was 9 years in a bourbon cask and 1 year in a sherry cask. They stored it outside. They finished it for the year in West Cork, in Skibbereen, but outside, which is very unusual.
Oh, right, because it's usually
an open warehouse somewhere.
There's a very soft finish on that. It doesn't really feel, again, like 46%. It does on the nose, but on the tail and the kind of finish with it, it doesn't really feel.
I wasn't wild about the nose, but I do like the palate. The nose reminded me of sounds weird, of crayons, kids' crayons. But it's beautifully soft and fruity on the palate. Really, really nice. Of course, we're back here in the Palace. It's a very famous writer's bar, journalist bar, really. Favourite pub for a lot of journalists from the Irish Times, the Irish Press. A man up there, Con Houlihan. If he was an American sports writer, he would be known around the world. They'd be raving about him. He was the best Irish sports writer we've ever had.
Okay.
People used to buy the Evening Press Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays just for him.
Just for the sport.
Just for his column. And his column.
Wow.
And it could be he might go on a complete ramble, and at the very end and say, "Oh, by the way, the match was this." But he was a beautiful writer. Kerryman, of course, like myself.
Like yourself, yeah.
He gave me a story on my wedding day. I was out drinking with him on my wedding day. This is a true story.
Okay.
This is 8 o'clock in the morning. Went to the White Horse, and there he told me it was a kind of a joke he was giving out. It was about an Englishman, Irishman, Scotsman going to the Olympic Games, and they hadn't tickets, so they tried to blank their way in.
Okay.
And how they blanked their way in was the Englishman went up to the building site that was around the Olympic Games, and he picked up a length of scaffolding.
Okay.
And went up. The security guy opened up at the athlete's entrance, and he said, "George Smith, England, pole vault. You're in, George." The Scotsman went up, or he picked up a manhole cover. Michael Fogarty, Scotland, discus, and he was let in. And the Irish fella didn't know what was going on and how would he get in. And the only thing left was a roll of barbed wire. So he picked up a roll of barbed wire, knocked on the athlete's entrance. The security guard looked at him and said, "Yeah?" He said, "Paddy Murphy, Ireland, fencing." That was his joke. Anyway, coming back to Hyde, the first president.
Have you tried it with water? I'm gonna have a pinch and see.
It's very, very floral. It's really the finish is really, really floral. It's coming out really, really nicely. It's a sherry cask. You can get that extra
Yeah, it really takes that edge off the kind of oak that you feel from it, or
It's not so
smell
much
from it.
grains anymore, I'd have to say.
Bit more of those sherry notes kind of coming through. Not really that prominently, as you said. It's only
Kind of tropical fruits now.
What do you think?
I think it's gorgeous. Really think it's gorgeous. I'm delighted that they brought out a really nice whiskey for their first whiskey. Yeah, I'm very impressed with that actually. Very, very nice.
Well, I think you give this one its thumbs up, Michael.
I do indeed.
Yeah, fit for a president.
Yeah.
Yeah, any president.
If they're small.
If they're small. Like Michael D, like our own president, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, my thanks indeed to Michael for joining me on our barrel and our very comfortable Palace bar yet again. But yeah, presidential cask number 1 gets a thumbs up from us. What do you think, Michael?
Thumbs up for me.
So, whiskey fit for a president indeed. My thanks to Hyde for their whiskey, and indeed to the Palace Bar in Fleet Street for their hospitality as ever. This is episode 4 in our series. If you have enjoyed it, do give us a like and a share. You know you want to. So easy you can do it sitting down. Next week we look forward to the first cask strength of the series, courtesy of Walsh Distillery in the Irishman cask strength. But for now, as one famous president once said, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Sláinte.
A bit about the Palace Bar itself before we actually try the whiskey.
The whiskey that's very much enhanced with water, but I think
Best Irish whiskey in